It's Monday, April 17th, 2023, and this is episode 281 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. I'm Mark Duvall.
And I'm Dr. Mike.
Dr. Mike, I understand you've got some new gambling stories for us?
Yeah, well, yesterday, as a matter of fact, we headed down to Diamond Joe Worth, my wife and I, for a party invitation that we had for their Onyx members.
Okay.
There was a nice, steak dinner.
Oh, okay. So separate from their steak house, but like a separate dinner just for high-tier members. Okay.
Right. Yeah, it was in their banquet room or whatever. That dinner actually was very nice. I mean, they had shrimp cocktail appetizers and an open bar.
Oh, very good.
Steak dinner, vegetables, potatoes, and mac and cheese with lobster in it, and salad, bread, all the things, and then a great dessert. Good. I mean, I think I ate the biggest piece of chocolate cake I've ever eaten in my life.
Good for you, Dr. Mike. You must be proud.
And I was proud because there's 10 people on the table, and I think 4 other men who were on the table got it and could only eat about half of it.
Good for you.
And I finished it, and I was thinking about getting another one.
Ah, nice.
It was so good.
You should have just grabbed it from the other guys at the table. Just grab their plates. And,
I told Lynn, that guy only ate half. I'm going to eat his other half. She said, don't you dare. And then during the dinner, you got to pick out a gift. And there were 18 choices.
Okay.
And Mark, they were good gifts.
Really?
Some of the things a big, huge TV. We have so many TVs. And there was a package coolers and stuff, outdoor stuff. We have all that. Yeah. There was 2 bikes that you could get, electric bikes.
Oh, nice.
There was a barbecue smoker thing. There was an espresso machine and a coffee machine combined. They were like packages. Well, my wife picked out the Coach purse.
Nice.
It came with a purse, and then it came with a wallet thing. And it came with a bottle of their perfume and a watch.
Oh, nice. Okay, great.
Yeah, and so my wife looked it all up. Retail value, it was like $1,100 for all 4 items.
Those are good gifts. That's a little bit better than the taco holders that we got at Harrah's a while back. Yeah.
I know. Well, I was thinking even when Caesars has a 7-star thing, the gift's usually $100.
Yeah.
Something that's worth this is $1,100 gift, which to go along with the $900 in free play I got, that's a $2,000 here you go thing.
Oh, very good.
And then, of course, we stayed overnight because, we're going to think, we're going to go to the dinner and stuff. We're not going to feel like driving home.
Right.
So they comped me a room over at the hotel. Now, it was the Holiday Inn Express across the
street. Okay.
Across the street there, because the other one, I guess, was full up.
Okay.
Because I waited a little bit before I decided I was going to go.
Well, it's the first time you've stayed there, right? I mean, how does that compare to the one that's attached?
I think it's better than the one
it seemed like
attached.
It looked like it was when we were there.
Yeah.
Okay,
good.
It
was nice. I mean, the room we had on the 3rd floor, there were 2 queen beds, and then there was a couch that I checked, pulled out into a bed too. So you could get 6 people in there if you wanted. And, it's just me and my wife. So, we just need 1 bed. We're sleeping in the bed. And my wife says, what's that other bed for? And I said, oh, that's a sex bed. So
that's
just
smart.
For sex.
That is smart to have a separate one.
Yeah, you sleep in your bed, and then the other bed's for sex. You can mess it up, do whatever you want.
That's good hoteling is what that is.
That's good hoteling. They should advertise that more, really.
Not specific, just, you're going to need 2 beds.
And here, get this. At the check-in desk, the lady checking people in was selling Girl Scout cookies for her daughter.
Good. So and you bought some, I assume.
Came home with 10 boxes of Girl Scout
That's good.
I had already eaten 10 boxes from somebody here in town who was selling them. Now and I thought, oh, God, I'm not going to get any more. 10 more boxes, loaded up. And then, played craps the rest of the time. Due to a series of unfortunate events, I was not a winner.
Oh, okay. A series of unfortunate events, like a lot of 7 outs.
Yeah, things like that. Unfortunate events, Mark.
Yeah, okay.
There was a series of them. The usual gang of people who were there, a lot of the higher tier craps players.
Yeah.
And one of the guys who was there, Nick, and he's from Minneapolis, and he was there with his buddies. They were playing on my end of the table, and I heard him talking. He was telling them about this strategy that he saw on the internet.
Uh-huh.
Who puts crap strategies on the internet? Anyway, he said, there's a million of them, but this one seems not too bad. And what it was, he told them, okay, we put a bet on the don't pass on the come out. And then we put a come bet, and that goes up to whatever number. And then we put another come bet, and it goes to that number. And then we just sit back and wait.
All right.
Now, none of this is with odds or anything.
That was my next question. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, just 3 flat bets.
Sure.
And so he called that the fairy dust strategy.
All right. Any reason?
I think the reason was because they tried it a few times and got wiped out.
The fairy dust, in other words, it doesn't really work.
Right. Fairy dust theory is what he said. The funniest thing is at first he's telling them, yeah, the guy said you magically can make lots of money.
So that was the whole thing. So if a point was made and they lost their don't, they just make another don't pass bet?
Right.
Okay, so the idea is just 1 don't pass bet, 2 come bets.
Come bets.
And that's it. Okay.
Finally, I just said, well, I think what you're hoping for is an immediate 7 out. Because then you win your don't bet and you win your come bet, right?
Yeah, right.
So, you won 2 bets just like that.
All right. Well, I can't see that becoming a particularly popular strategy with our listeners. But
no.
Folks, if you adopt the fairy dust strategy and you really enjoy it, let us know.
Yeah. Well, eventually later as we're talking, I told him, well, the thing is to play whatever way you enjoy.
Yeah.
There's like 5 or 6 of them, right, who come together. And they're obviously good buddies because they're teasing each other, and,
right.
Making fun of each other and stuff. And I said, would you be betting this way if, say, you were here alone?
Okay.
And he said, yes. And I said, well, because I just figured if you're betting the don't and you're with the group, 6 guys, and they're teasing each other and having a good time, maybe drinking and talking, you can sit there while another person just rolls like 8 numbers, right? Just waiting for the 7 out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, yeah, then that might be fun, right? You're there with your buddies and you make a little money, you're gambling. But, if you were alone and you didn't have anybody, how fun would that be? He said he still does it like that. And one of the guys said, yeah, just watch the baseball game or the football game that's on the TV above the. Yeah. And I said, okay, that's fair, if you're entertained. And they said, well, what about you? I said, well, I just can't play that way because it's just boring to me.
Yeah. I kind of understand where he's coming from now, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later on in the show, too. A big part of why we enjoy craps is the camaraderie, the crew, the other players, that kind of thing.
Right.
I can actually sit and play one of those cylinder games, too, by myself and still enjoy it. So, it depends on what you want out of the game. I enjoy the atmosphere, too, but I also kind of like just the mechanics of the game.
Yeah. It just depends on your personality, right? And there was also another young couple there, and they didn't know how to play. And the wife said something, well, ask him, because she could obviously see I knew what I was doing. Uh-huh. They bought in for like $100. And I said, $10 on the line. And then, I got them to place a 6 and 8. And then I explained odds. So turns out after a while, they were putting 10 on the line with 10 odds. And then $12 6, $12 8.
Okay, good.
And for a while there, they were having pretty good luck because like 2 6s and 8 would come up, and a couple times points came up. Eventually, though, it kind of wore them down because they had $100.
Sure, but I think that's a great strategy for new players.
Yeah, that's a perfect strategy because then all you have to understand is, okay, we want to repeat the 5, 6, and 8.
Yeah, right? If 5's your point. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But at one point, they were asking me about, other bets and stuff. And they'd only bought in for 100. I said, well, to be honest, on this table, $10 table, you got to buy in for at least $500 because 100 is not going to get you very far.
Yeah.
Unless you just do, like I said, just 6 and 8 or something, and even that can wind you down a few immediate outs. And, you're losing $24 a pop, 3 immediate outs, you're done.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was kind of the day. And then we ate at the, burger place this morning. They have a breakfast menu. Mm-hmm. And Mark, I got a breakfast burger.
Yeah.
Which consisted of 2 patties. I got the double one.
Okay, two beef patties, ground beef patties.
2 beef patties. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're huge.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember, but they're big patties there.
All right.
So that it's well over a half pound of meat.
Okay. I think I see your mistake already. Continue.
Yeah. And then 2 fried eggs on it. Which is 2 fried eggs.
Yeah.
And there's lettuce and tomato and the sauce. I got pepper jack cheese with bacon.
Yeah.
Too. It's this huge thing. And then Lynn got a cordon bleu chicken sandwich.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah. Oh, it was huge too. And then the guy said, "Oh, okay, you can get 2 entrees, 2 fries, and 2 drinks."
Comped is what you're saying.
Comped. Yeah. Well, I have $50 in food.
Okay.
And then my wife said, "Oh, well, let's get a milkshake too." He said, "Nope, you can't have a milkshake. You can, on the comp stuff, you can only have 2 entrees with fries and a drink.
No shakes available on the comps."
Yeah, no shakes available on comps.
Okay.
And I said, "Well, that only added up to like $27, $28. I just lose the other part of the 50?" And he said, "Well, yeah." And I said, "Why is that?" And he did kid, it's some young kitty. Sure. That's what corporate says. I said, "Okay, well, what can I get if I can't get a shake?" Or he said, "On the cordon bleu, you can get extra cheese.
Okay.
And on the breakfast burger, you can get extra patties if you want." So I said, "Okay, I'd like 5 more patties on my burger. And is it possible just to put them on the side?" He said, "Oh, yeah, we can do that." So I used almost most of my $50, and then I bought a milkshake.
Okay. And this was breakfast?
Well, it was breakfast like at 11 o'clock.
I don't know, Mike. I think I'm understanding some of your health issues.
Well, we had eaten a little breakfast at the hotel at like 6:30 a.m. or 7 a.m.
Okay, so this is in addition to the breakfast that you already had in the morning.
Yes. Mark, it's a Sunday brunch.
Okay, like a brunch. That makes a little more sense, like a brunch.
Yeah, it's a Sunday brunch in 2 stages. You know, there's a resting period there.
Can I get some more patties? Well, of course, sir. This is brunch.
So we ate that. I brought the 4 extra patties home and all of the Girl Scout cookies, and that will be what I'm going to be eating as soon as we're done here.
Sounds great. Well, Mike, would you like to learn a new game?
Okay.
All right.
It's not Sickbo, is
No,
it?
You already know Sickbo, my friend. No, this.
You know what's funny? Nobody at the casino, I made a reference to Sickbo. Nobody, the dealers, the pit, nobody knew what
Nobody had even heard of it, huh?
Nope, never even heard of it.
All right.
I pulled it up on my phone and showed them.
Okay, so they're probably not going to be adding a Sickbo table anytime soon at Diamond Joe Worth.
Probably not.
All right. Well, this game is called 3 Dice Baccarat. It's from Galaxy Gaming, and it's basically Baccarat with dice instead of cards. And the way that it works is there is a dice cup with 3 dice inside, kind of like if you've ever seen a Pai Gow poker table that has the dice that you shake.
Yeah.
3 inside, 1 each for the player and banker. Everybody makes their bets, and then the dice cups are shaken, and then the dice are revealed. And you add up all the pips on the dice, and then the last digit of the sum of the 3 dice is the hand value. Kind of like in Baccarat.
Gotcha.
You know, if your first 2 cards are 8, 7, well, those total 15, but it's a 5, right? Because you only look at that last digit. Again, the values are 0 through 9, just like in Baccarat, except instead of cards, you shake the dice. Now, keep in mind that in regular Baccarat, the player and the banker are both dealt 2 cards initially. And then there are a set of rules that determine whether or not the player and or banker will receive a 3rd card. And as a result of those rules, the banker has a slight edge in regular Baccarat. And so winning Baccarat hands are charged a commission. Again, because the banker has a slight edge. Well, in this version, you know, there's no 3rd card dealt or anything after that. You just shake the dice, and whatever comes up, that's the total. So with that in mind, there's no advantage to player or banker in this game. You're just, you know, shaking these dice.
Right.
So the way that the casino makes money, there's no commission, but any hand that results in a 3 beating a 0, that's a push for what normally would be the winning hand. So in other words, the 0 still loses,
right?
But the 3 is just a push. It's not a win. And it can go in either order. Banker beats player, player beats banker. Either way, it's a push. That's how the casino handles the house edge.
I gotcha.
So, I mean, that's basically the game. And then there are side bets, of course. Like there's a 35-1 side bet that you can bet on that there will be a 3 versus the 0, to kind of hedge that situation. And then there's some other bets there where you're betting on the dice coming up all the same, 3 of a kind, things like that. Typical side bets.
Right. Sure.
It's obviously not going to replace regular Baccarat, but the thing that might make it interesting is that the casino has the option of allowing players to shake the dice. So in other words, whoever has the most money bet on banker gets to shake the banker dice, and whoever has the most money bet on player gets to shake the player dice, that kind of thing. Now, Mike, you remember back when we used to play Pai Gow poker, that was the only game in town. We'd go out to some of these tribal casinos. The shaking of the dice by the bank was a huge deal, big ritual, shaking it up and pounding it on the table and shaking it back and forth. That might be comparable to a squeeze game where, you're bending the cards back and kind of looking in regular Baccarat. Who knows if it will catch on at all? This game might die very quickly, and it certainly won't replace regular Baccarat. But that part of it, the shaking and the ritual, might be why some players enjoy it. It is simpler than regular Baccarat. So there you go, 3 dice Baccarat.
Okay, my analysis of this game is
yes,
it's going to be very popular.
Okay.
For these reasons, number 1, it's easier to figure out.
Yes.
Number 2, people love to shake those dice.
Oh, man, do they?
And there's always a ritual, some people wind their arm up and do this or that. Some people slam them 3 times and then open it up. I mean, everyone's got their ritual, right?
Yeah, right.
And it makes a lot of noise. So people come over and they're like, oh, what's this? They're interested in what's going on because it's loud. It's like a craps game.
Yeah.
Right? It's loud. I mean, it could be loud on every roll on a craps game. Blackjack, every once in a while somebody screams because they got a good hand and had a lot of money bet. But most of the time it's kind of quiet.
Yes.
Same with roulette. Most of the time it's kind of quiet.
Yeah, unless there's a win.
It's something big.
There's nothing, right. Even at a craps table, the cheers that you hear, those are just people. This is an example where the actual gameplay is generating sound.
Sounds, right. Yeah. So I think for those reasons, it would probably be popular. Side bets help because people love the side bets. Yep. And if the limits aren't too high.
Yeah, that's another thing, right.
If they keep it like, $10 or $15 or, well, maybe it'd be like 25, I don't know. Somewhere in that range.
Oh, maybe even less than 25. Like you said, right? This would appeal to people. I'll tell you, even though I do enjoy playing the squeeze game Baccarat a little bit, I always have to refresh my memory on the rules as to when a third card comes out, right?
Right,
so,
exactly.
And in this, you don't have to worry about it all, right? It's just about shaking the dice. And,
it's super. You don't even have to be a gambler. You just tell somebody, add up the dice. It's 18. Yeah. Just go with the last number. You got an 8, and 9 beats 8. 8 beats 7, right? So, I think this would catch on.
All right. Wow. Stamp of approval from Dr. Mike. I'm a little surprised, but very pleased.
Yeah, I think I'd like play this game.
All right. Well, I don't think we'll see it in Biloxi, but boy, if we do, we'll definitely, play a few hands.
Here's one thing I wouldn't like. I don't like that to get a 9, which is the highest. Mm-hmm. You can't get into double digits on the dice.
So you can't get a 19 is what you're saying. 18 is the most that you can get with 3 dice.
Exactly.
Right.
So you're going to have to get a 9 by the dice adding up to 9.
Yes, that's a good point. All the other not all the other combinations, because you can't get a 1 or a 2 or a 0 with 3 dice. But It's, that makes it quite a bit different than dealing out cards. But again, no advantage player or banker, so who cares?
Right. Yeah, it really doesn't matter. But it's kind of like, oh, God, it's going to be hard to get a 9. 8s, I can get 18, I can get 8.
Yeah.
But same thing where 1. The only way I can get a 1 is having an 11.
Yep.
So that people might think that's a plus because They don't want a 1.
Well, again, a plus. You're betting on player or banker, so it doesn't matter, right? Neither one has an advantage,
but
so who cares?
The psychology of it.
All right. Okay. The psychology of it.
People will, they're just like, oh, if there were more ways to get 9, I could always win as a player or whatever, or a banker or whatever. Yeah. So anyway, I think it's going to go over well.
All right. Very good. Well, keep an eye out for it, folks. 3 Dice Baccarat. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. All right, let's move on to some voicemails. First up is Bert.
Good morning, Mark and Dr. Mike. It's Bert from Virginia again. Just want to give you 2 craps experiences I had recently to get your reaction to them. One, my wife and I were out at Harrah's in Atlantic City. Last day of the trip, headed to the airport, decided to stop, spend the last hour at the craps table. It was down to $10. Had one of the best crew experiences I've probably ever had playing craps. They were just fun, having a good time, making jokes. You guys would have loved them. I don't think I won any money, but just reminded me of why I really like the game. Fun crew, having a ball. Last week I was out in Sacramento at a work conference and made my way to Red Hawk Casino just outside of Sacramento. Table was $5 minimum, which I haven't seen in years, but had a crew there that was almost all learning. I think one person knew what they were doing. Everybody else was sort of learning on the job. But even though they had the perfect personalities to be craft dealers, they were a little stressed because they were new. There were only about 4 or 5 players. You know, they were learning, making some mistakes. The supervisors were helping them correct some payouts and things. But they were making jokes, having a good time. It was fun. It was a really fun experience. I'd kind of gotten turned off of craps recently with $25 minimums and $50 minimums. I live over in the East Coast, so all of our tables here are $25, $50 or more. But these 2 reminded me of why I fell in love with the game originally. One little wrinkle I wanted to add. The trip out to Red Hawk in Sacramento, I didn't have a car, but I had a work buddy who had a car, so he drove us out there. Never played craps before, so I walking in, I'm talking to him about the basic place betting, pick some numbers you like, and we'll see what happens. We were there for about an hour. I shot .7 out, nothing going on. Give him the dice, first time ever shooting. Of course, he hits numbers, 3 or 4 numbers, but he sees this all tall, small at the top. He said, "What's that?" That seems like a good bet. I said, "If you think you can hit them all." So him and I decided to throw $5 on 2-1-2. And he proceeds to hit all but 1 number. Only thing he was left was the 2. And he probably rolled 3 threes in a row, but never got the 2. Next shooter comes up, didn't know who he was. He shoots, he hits all the small. So my buddy who never played craps before, within an hour went from making his first place bet to betting the all tall small. He was throwing some horn bets in there after I explained those to him. He did a bet for the dealer. It was awesome to teach someone the game, especially with a young crew that was still learning, so the game wasn't super fast. But it was funny to go from never betting before to hitting this small and realizing that $2 bet paid him a pretty nice amount of money. So just a little story about the game for you guys. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope to see you guys soon. Take care.
All right, thanks. There you go. Virgin shooter, guaranteed to be a win.
I just feel so sorry for him.
I was thinking about that, Mike. You know how we kind of joke about, oh, sorry for your loss. That kind of became thing. Whenever you've got a new player who wins the first time they ever play, sorry for your win.
Sorry for your win.
Right? I mean,
it's going to ruin your life.
It's terrible. Oh, well, so much for your future. See you next week.
I do like it, though, that he won. That's great.
Well, Bert was talking about, good crews. Yeah, that is the most important thing to us when we're playing craps. There are other things that might get us to leave a table if it's too crowded, too slow, that kind of thing. Yeah. But it's all about the crews and the players. It helps to have good players, too.
Even if you don't know people on the table, you just walk up, but everyone's interacting, talking, having a good time, making silly comments or, whatever. and the crew's good, you're in paradise, right?
That's the best.
I mean,
that is when craps is the best.
Yep. Yeah, when everyone's kind of in a bad mood or dull, or some guy's constantly getting into arguments with the dealers, or the dealers are in a bad mood or something. It's just no fun.
No.
And that's another thing I told the guys today at Diamond Joe Worth. Hey, I went to Dubuque last week. And, it was good. It was fine. And they have 20 times odds. And they had a few rules I really liked. But I just rather come here. They were kind of dull.
Okay.
They were okay. They were nice. They just weren't as friendly and as exciting as the people at Diamond Joe Worth.
Do you think maybe it was because you were new to them? I guess a better question is, when the first time you went to Diamond Joe Worth and nobody really knew who you were,
oh, no, they were nice.
Just from the get-go.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
From the get-go, they were nice, yeah. Okay. But, maybe at Diamond Joe Dubuque, they didn't really know me. There was only 2 or 3 of us on the table, so there wasn't a lot of chatter or anything.
Yeah.
But I could soften them up if I went enough.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. All right, well, as promised last episode, let's hear from our good friend Melanie.
Well, hello, Mark. Hello, Dr. Mike. It is Melanie from Colorado. I gotta say, I kind of wanted to go, hello, Mike. Hello, Dr. Mark, just to hear Mark go, in his cartoon voice. I love that. Anyway, just got back from a fabulous trip to warm Las Vegas, escaped the snow of Colorado. El Cortez is where I stayed since they sent me some free rooms. I stayed at the King Suite in the Vintage area, which is accessible only by stairs. This was a gigantic room. Big bed, super comfortable. Also, couch, chairs, giant TV. Highly recommend. Bring your earplugs, those. Some loud music coming from somewhere, but oh man, highly recommend. I have big news. I hit my first all in the craps table. It was all tall, all small, make 'em all. I had ordered some food across the street at Eureka, came back to wait the 30 minutes. And when I went on a 45-minute roll. I didn't have a lot of money out there because of the high minimums. I won the guy next to me easily $800 to $1,000. He was the only guy that had $1 on the make 'em all, tall and small. Oh my gosh, what a thrill that was. I mean, so exciting. Anyway, had a wonderful time. I went with friends to the Great Vegas Beer Festival. It's held at the Downtown Event Center area, which is just catty corner from the back of the D. Love that. So if you know where that statue is, that Peas, it's just, you can see it if you look with your back to it right there. Great location, great venue, lots of great people watching, and of course, excellent beer. Ate at Saginaw's, as always, the Reuben, #1, on point, love it. Watched the NCAA Women's Final Four from the overhang. Got a great spot with my buddy Julie, and we played video poker during the commercials and watched the game. It was a very exciting, tight game. The underdogs both prevailed. Oh, one more thing about staying at the El Cortez. I did go down to catch a ride to the Strip, and a guy with valet on his shirt came up and said, "Oh, you catch an Uber?" I'm like, "Yep." And he's like, "You want to ride?" And I'm like, "Sure." So apparently they'll take you for free close by up to the Strip. They're just looking for tips. So also El Cortez does offer free rides to the airport in the morning if you are able to leave between 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. I left much earlier than that. I had a 5:20 a.m. flight, and can I tell you, when I got to the airport at like 4:15, it was so crowded. So plan ahead if you're going to the Las Vegas airport. I do have pre-check, so no big deal, but wow. Whew. All right. What a great trip. Love the show. Talk to you guys soon. Sure wish I could join you in Biloxi. I really hope to get to one of the meetups very soon.
Yeah, we're going to miss you, Melanie.
Yes, Melanie. It was good to hear from Melanie again.
I think the earliest flight I've ever taken out of Vegas is like 7-something. I've never taken like a 5:20 flight. But
me either. I think 7 is about the earliest.
To hear that it was so crowded, that is a surprise. I wonder if some of it is that the airport is just, there's less staff there early like that, and maybe it takes longer for people to get through security, that kind of thing. But yeah, I'd be surprised to show up at 4:30 in the morning and find a crowded airport.
Well, it could be there's not enough staff. It could also be that it's Las Vegas, Mark.
It could be,
and people go there, and sometimes you're forced to take the 5 a.m. flight because all the others are booked.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right, Dr. Mike.
Now, are we to assume that Melanie did not bet on the all tall, all small?
Well, yeah, she said she hit it, but then she said that guy at the table was the only one who had any money on it. So I mean, that's great, Melanie, that you hit it, but you didn't win any money for yourself on it. I guess that's kind of exciting, but yeah, that's the way it sounded.
That it was a good roll.
Next time, maybe try putting a buck on there. Listen to who's suggesting she do that, right? I never bet on it.
Right. It's you, not me. I didn't say you should.
Throw a little something on the seating in it. She was talking about watching the women's Final Four. That was a great Final Four. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the semis,
awesome.
and then, even though it was kind of all LSU in the finals, oh my gosh, they scored 102 points. It was something else. So, yeah.
Well, to 85. I mean, 187 points. I mean, the pros sometimes have a hard time getting to 200.
Yeah. So, I'm glad she was able to enjoy that.
And Melanie talked about El Cortez having a nice room and everything. It sounded nice, but there was no mention of a sex bed.
No, I didn't hear about a second bed. Yeah.
You should always have one.
Yeah, that's true. Just safety reasons. All right, next call.
Hey, guys. Huge fan of the show. My name's Ryan from Chicago. I've been catching up. Just found the show about 2 months ago, right before a Vegas trip, and already I'm on episode 98, so I guess I'm kind of an addict on it. But a couple things I wanted to talk about real quick. They just opened a brand new casino right by my house here, about 30, 40 minutes north of Chicago. It's called Temporary American Place. And a couple things. They have 3-2 blackjack, which I thought you guys would like, and 9-6 pay tables. But it's a pretty small casino because they don't have the full version up and they can't get any workers. So it's like one craps table going at a time, which kind of sucks. But first couple times I was there, I was just killing it. I had something on a blackjack side game. I won $450 and then I hit $1350, like within 3 hands of each other. So that was crazy. On slots, which I don't really even usually play that much, I was making a ton of money on slots. And apparently everybody I was talking to was too. But the more I've gone back, obviously that's caught up and it's got colder. So what I was wondering is, do you think that when a place just opens, they set their slot machines for one level of pay and then they change it? Or maybe based on your player's card, like, okay, this guy's winning a lot, he doesn't need to win anymore. Is it possible that that comes into play at all? And then finally, going with a group of 5 guys to Kansas City later this month for the NFL draft. And we're all real excited about that, and we're looking up casinos that are there, and there's like 6 or 7 casinos. I think you guys actually talked about this in a real early episode of something about Kansas City, but I don't remember what it is. But I was just curious to know if you or any of your listeners had any suggestions on which casinos to hit up while you're there, if there's any cool rules or games or anything to look forward to there. Even sports betting, because I know my son, unfortunately, drops a whole lot of money on betting on the NFL draft. I was sad because I listened to 2 of the new episodes, just couldn't wait. And I've heard that Dr. Mike lives in Minnesota now and bummed to hear you guys aren't together. But Minnesota's a place that my family goes often, and we used to go like twice a year. Before we hit 21, we would go to Canterbury because you could gamble at 18. The last time I went was probably right before COVID. I brought my son up there because he wasn't even 21 yet, so he gambled. And we played Ultimate Hold'em, and I thought a cool thing that they had there, well, it was weird how you get these silver chips to play the side bet, and you could put them in. But what was cool is you could also bet for the dealer. So we had a hand in Ultimate Hold'em where quads came up on the board. So not only did we hit that once, but we hit it twice because we had both our hand and the dealer's hand. I think we made a little bit over $400 on basically a $2 bet. So exciting there. I don't know if you ever get to Canterbury or not, Dr. Mike. It's like a poker hall. It was a dog track. I don't think they do that anymore, but I'm not sure. But it's a pretty fun place. A lot better, I think, than Mystic Lake. But I don't know, maybe times have changed. But at any rate, again, just want to let you know how much I appreciate you guys. I do my own podcast. I know it's not easy work, and you guys have put together a great show for a long time now. So thanks. Have a great day.
All right. Thanks, Ryan.
All right. Thanks, Ryan.
Mike, you talk about going to Diamond Joe in Iowa and Ho Chunk up in Wisconsin. Have you been to any of the Minnesota casinos?
No, because, Mark, they don't have craps.
Well, no, I understand.
No, if I drive by one, I would stop and check it out.
Are you close to one?
Well, it's about 45 minutes, I believe, maybe, to get to one along the river there. I just, without craps, I'm like, I wouldn't go there just to walk through and say, oh, yeah, this is nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've heard of them all.
Okay,
and
so
people around here go up because they love playing slots.
Okay, so you'll stop. Well, maybe we'll hear a Minnesota casino report from you if you happen to drive by one on your way somewhere else.
Somewhere else.
Stick your head in.
I'll make an effort to go to one here.
Okay.
This summer for sure.
All right.
I was just thinking, Ryan, you're playing at a casino called Temporary.
The Temporary is.
Yeah. So maybe that's why they didn't have, they have a hard time getting people. I don't want to get a job there. It's going to close down. It's just Temporary.
It's quite a name for a casino. I've never heard of anything quite like that. The Temporary.
No. Yeah. Well, and then if you say The Temporary by American Place.
You should say the whole thing. Yeah. Oh, where are you going to play? The Temporary by American Place? Oh, I like that.
I don't like that name. Oh, God. They must be able to come up with a better name. So we're closing down Casino by Mike. Well, let's go there. I mean, they're temporary. They want to make as much money as they can in the next few days.
One nice thing about Ultimate Texas Hold'em is, like what happened with Ryan, if a jackpot or bonus winning hand ends up on the board, in other words, the 5 community cards actually make the hand, then everybody will win. I remember years ago, Mike, in our home game, we've got a jackpot. We contribute a little bit from each pot into this jackpot. And then if anybody gets a 4 of a kind or better, they get part of this jackpot. And years ago, there was a hand where Paul was in with his brother, Mark. They were the only 2 left at the end of the hand. And the river put 4 10s on the board. And I remember they both won jackpot because they both had 4 of a kind. Now, one of them probably had a better kicker to actually win the poker hand. But that's what it reminded me of. It's kind of nice. Most games like Pie Gow Poker, it's not like everybody can get, a royal flush, right? But if a royal flush were to come up in a game like Ultimate Texas Hold'em, well, then, everybody hits it.
Everyone hit it, yeah. He was saying about slots being maybe a little tighter when they first open. I don't know.
Well,
I mean,
not tighter, but actually looser when they first open. I would say that this is not that uncommon. When a casino first opens, maybe they've set their slots kind of loose to kind of get a buzz and get people in.
A couple jackpots.
And then after a while, they tighten them up a little bit. But the situations where Ryan is talking about where maybe the machine tightens up because you've got your player's card in there and it knows who you are or it knows how much you've won. No, there's none of that going on.
Well, they don't have to. There's no reason
they don't have to. No, the tightening or loosening, quote unquote, of slots does not happen on the fly. It's not based on previous spins or specific people playing the games. It's something that if they do change the tightness of a machine, it has to be done very deliberately, and in a lot of jurisdictions, they have to get approval for it, that kind of thing. So,
you mean there's not an alien in a back room who, like on Star Trek, was an expert at strategy, and he was so fast and playing the game, even Data couldn't beat him? There's not a guy like back there tightening machines, loosening them?
I'm not saying there absolutely is not. I'm just saying it's very unlikely.
Okay, as long as you made that clear.
And then, Ryan, neither Mike nor I have been to any of the Kansas City casinos, so we can't really speak to him. I know your brother has,
my brother
do you
has.
have any?
Remember, I think that's what he's talking about on that one.
Right.
I think the one that was Harrah's there, he didn't like as much.
Okay. But any other information that you know? See, that's the thing is that I know your brother talked about it before, but I can't think of any specifics to pass along to Ryan.
No, I'd have to talk to my brother again. He would know.
Okay. Well, hopefully you'll have a good time, Ryan. I'm sure you will. NFL draft and friends and everything there.
Well,
so good
try
luck.
them all. Yeah. I remember once I went to the NFL draft in San Diego to like the Chargers War Room. Where they invited season ticket holders to come and, watch. And Paul and I went down there and it's exciting, but.
Well, how long ago was that?
That was a long time ago.
Because,
Mark.
I mean, the NFL draft is a much bigger deal than it was.
In those days, I think when I went, they didn't even televise it.
No, I remember.
It was just we went to see who the Chargers were going to take.
Right. I remember when ESPN first televised the draft. there was all this talk about, well, who's going to watch that? And this was before any NFL games were broadcast on ESPN. And ESPN was thinking, hey, we've got programming that has NFL in the title. We're going for it. And it turned out to be a smart move on their part. And now it's a whole deal. It's a big deal, right? It's on
big
prime time television, right? So,
Well, and every casino has a come to here and watch the NFL draft and blah, blah, blah. There are a lot of sports bettors. Some people focus on the NBA and they know every single player in the NBA.
Yeah.
All their stats and stuff. And some people do that with baseball. Some people do that with football. And then there's people like me who I know most of the big name players, right? But I don't know who the third string offensive lineman is for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
So I kind of look at it in a general way as to, which teams I think are good or which team might win today and stuff. And so that means that I'm going to do a lot of bets that are, say, the money line or with the point spread or over-unders, things like that. I'm not going to do too many prop bets where it's like, will so-and-so score this many points? Or because you really, really, really have to know the players. And the reason I bring this up, because down at Diamond Joe Worth, a lot of the dealers bet sports because, it's right there at the casino.
Yeah.
And I guess evidently they're allowed to bet there.
Oh, that's good.
It's through FanDuel. And one guy, Drew Crapstill, a real super nice guy, he bets a ton of NBA stuff, but it's all, will the number 10 player on the team score 4 points or, a lot of prop bets, and he parlays them.
Mm-hmm.
And I just find that interesting. He was talking about his son liking to bet sports.
Yeah. All right. Next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Jamp from Atlanta. Just calling to give a trip report from Biloxi. And man, it was a rough trip. I only left one table with more money than I started. We hit IP, the Nugget, Treasure Bay, which is a fantastic local casino I cannot recommend enough. We skipped Haraz because we could not agree more. After many trips there, we agreed it's one of the worst Caesar properties we've ever been to. Forgot to mention this was the boys' trip, third anniversary of our 40th birthdays with some buddies from college. I did want to mention, though, the Biloxi dealers have turned uber-friendly. In the past, it was very hit or miss, but this time, especially at the Hard Rock and Ocean View and Island View, the dealers made it a point to try and be nice to the craps players. We played all craps. It was tough, like I mentioned. Some 10, mostly $15 tables. The dealers were great. I just had to say a kudos to that. Stayed at the Bow. Their second time staying at the Bow. The new rooms are great. Definitely refurbished. It looks awesome. We didn't actually end up gambling there because we went all over the coast. We went all the way to Pascagoula. We went to the Hollywood Casino. Terrible. Got killed there. Love your show. Had to give a trip report. Had to definitely call out the dealers in Biloxi for being awesome. The tables were terrible. But we love the show. Look forward to giving you more trip reports. Next time, I'm going to be doing a karma donation to help me out a little bit. Thanks.
Well, that's one of the reasons we're looking forward to going back to Biloxi, or you're going for the first time, Mike, is sort of the Southern hospitality. We definitely do see that in the casinos down there. So it's too bad that maybe he had some bad experiences previously, but good to hear that he's having some good ones now with some of the crews.
Well, I'm going to reserve all judgment until I go. If I want to give Biloxi the stamp of approval, I will.
All right. We'll hang on for your trip report, Dr. Mike.
I'm going to give a very detailed trip report of Biloxi when we come back.
Oh, thank you. Okay, good.
Very, very detailed.
Very detailed.
I'm going to keep some very accurate notes.
I'm going to have a lot of editing to do, is what you're saying.
Yeah, you're going to have a lot. That's going to be the whole show, is me talking about what I did while I was in Biloxi.
That's great. Then the whole show, after I get done cutting it up, it'll just be, yeah, we had a pretty good time. Thanks for listening. All right, next up is Anthony.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. Anthony from Missouri. Appreciate you guys answering my questions about some things to do for my group that's going to be doing a bachelor party. We are going to be going soon-ish, and I have a quick question about what to do with room charges We're going to have 3 rooms total. I'll be in one of them, and I am the person with the player's card. So I thought that we could just charge everything to my room, but I didn't know how messy that would get with things due to other people maybe charging items. So would it be possible that each person can charge things to the room that they're in, and then that still gets put to me? Or would it be best to just collect receipts from everyone and then put it on later? What is your guys' experience with that? I'm thinking in terms of comps for the future for me going. Hopefully that'll help with that. So any advice you have on that would be great if you have any. And thanks for the show, guys.
Now, we'll tell you, Anthony, with something like this, keep it as simple as possible, because it's just going to be a headache for you if you try to coordinate, charge to my room. Make sure you don't charge to your room, or do that, and keeping track of what people owe you, that kind of thing. I don't think it's worth it. If you're talking about getting comps in the future, you're not going to get that many comps based on spending compared to the comps that you get for gambling. Go ahead and ask when you check in what's possible, what can be charged to what. But in the past, when I have tried to plan a trip, if I think about this too much and I try to coordinate, it has the opposite effect and it just gets too complicated. So that would be my advice.
Yeah, I'd agree. You don't want to get it too complicated. But, depending on how much you're putting on the room, like let's say, 4 people, you all go to dinner. Well, I'll put this on, and at the end, we'll see what they comp, and whatever's left, we'll divide it 4 ways.
Well, sure, that's fine.
That.
I think he's talking more about other people, when he's not around.
Yeah.
When you're not doing everything as a group. Yeah.
Well, yeah, putting it on his room might be difficult unless they're all registered in his room, like when they ask you, do you want to add someone else on? Even
if they're able to do that, though, I would kind of recommend against that, because, again, it just still gets complicated and keeping track. Yeah, I would honestly just let people pay for things on their own as they go. And, if there are times like that, like the example you said, Mike, when maybe they're all out to dinner and it can be combined into a charge, then sure, do something like that.
Yeah, or do this, have everyone put stuff on your room and then get it all comped off and tell them nothing was comped and they all owe you a bunch of money.
That, I think, is the best idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
So make sure, Anthony, that none of your friends listen to this show and follow Mike's advice.
Yeah. And they're your friends. They'll understand if you rip them off.
All right. Next call.
Hey guys, I just want to give you a little commentary on the last podcast. This is Ed from California. You had talked about why craps is such a great game. I want to give my opinion there. The reason why I think it's such a great game is because it's the only casino game that I know of where you can make a wrong bet or a bad bet and still either A, win big, or survive long enough to pull off the money. For example, if you make a horn bet or if you bet on the snake eyes, everyone knows that's a bad odds bet, but if it hits, it pays so well. And if, let's say, you take a big 6 or big 8 and the roll doesn't come up a 6 or 8, you can just pull it down. It's no other game in the casino where you can have your bets live beyond the first play or the first roll, which is why I think craps is so great compared to like blackjack or even roulette. As for a story, give you a short one. I was playing at a craps table and it was a pretty exciting table. One guy gets the dice. And as he gets to throw, he mutters under his breath. I was standing right next to him, so I could hear it. He mutters, "No one ever believes in you." And then he throws the dice. He actually had a pretty good roll. So every time the dice came to him, he would say, "No one ever believes in you." And then he throws the dice. He actually probably rolled about 10, 12 numbers, including 3 horn numbers in a row, which I happen to be on. It's another reason why I love craps. Everybody was cheering, even though he didn't think anyone believed in him. Everybody was cheering him on. Thanks for the show and look forward to new content. Bye.
Mike, please remind me when we're in Biloxi, when I roll the dice to say, "No one ever believes in you," and toss them. Please don't let me forget.
You're supposed to say in me, no one ever believes in me.
Either way, that's fine. But that's maybe the best I've ever heard. It's one of the, come on, 33, come on,
I can just see the guy. He's one of these guys, he's never smiling. Even though he's having a great roll and people are cheering, he's still pissed.
That's right. He colors up. He's still looking at his shoes, walking to the cashier.
Oh, that's like us. For years, Mark and I would play craps, and we'd be in the middle of a really good roll, and like a 3 would come up, right?
This is inconsequential, right? We're not in the com. We're not in the middle. It means nothing.
It means nothing to us. And there's no all tall small then in those days. Yeah. And we just look at each other and go,
we'd be cussing like, this is the worst.
I can't say what we actually said because this is a G-rated show. But somebody's standing here thinking, what the hell were they so mad about? They didn't lose any money.
It didn't have any effect on any of the bets. I don't understand.
It was just a 3.
Oh. All right, don't let me forget, Mike. Don't let me forget.
Yeah. No one ever believes in me. And then just pound the table.
Yep.
It's right on. No one ever believes me.
All right, next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. It's Tristan from Aliso Viejo. I am sitting in the Tony Gwynn bar at Hamul and trying not to jinx it because it doesn't look like the game is over, but calling to congratulate you on what looks to be a 4-1 Padres victory. And I said I'd call you back after Vegas. And while this is technically after Vegas, I have nothing to report from Vegas because the gambling sucked. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.
All right. Well, thanks for that post-Vegas trip report, Tristan, with absolutely no information about Vegas. We appreciate it, and thanks for the congratulations on that Padres win.
We've met Tristan. I like that he's congratulating us on the win. So, I mean, I had a lot to do with it.
Oh, yeah, right. Well, it's like I said, we
play
won.
Was outstanding.
All right, let's hear from our friend Ariel.
Hey, Dr. Mike and Mark. Just a trip report. Went to Caesar's Palace, Vegas this trip. Saw Sting last Friday, so it was pretty cool. Easter weekend, you know. But just happy to say, I got a Royal Flush. I know you guys been trying to get it. I'm not sure if you got it yet, but I got a Royal Flush. It started out with King, Jack, Queen, and then it was one of those that you play 100 different games, and I hit it. I'll send you guys a photo. Anyways, just wanted to let you guys know that. It was a great trip, and all right, hopefully you guys are doing well. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I don't know, Ariel. He sent us this picture, Mike. I forwarded it to you. Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it.
So it's one of those 100 draw games, right?
Yeah.
So he hit a royal on one of the 100 hands. You know, you get 100 hands on the screen. They're very tiny. So it's just this little thing showing this royal flush. I don't know. We've talked about, what counts. When does a royal flush count? And, you can go to two extremes. Any royal flush counts. All right, well, that one counts. I think I'm going to go back to it's got to be single line royal flush, regardless of denomination.
If I ever play a multiple machine like that, which maybe I played one at some point, I don't even remember, and I get a royal flush, though, that's counting, Mark.
All right.
I got to take that. I got to take whatever I can get.
Okay. All right. Well, since I agree Mike's going to have to take that, then Ariel, okay, yours counts as well. Congratulations.
April Fool's Day went by and we didn't have an April Fool's podcast.
I think we did our one April Fool's podcast. I don't think we need to do another.
It would have been fun, though, to, have one and just talk about.
We hit a royal.
I went to the casino and I hit 2 royals back to back.
Yeah. All right. Next call.
Hi, guys. This is Kevin from Sacramento. I am 27 years old, but I've been gambling for about 17 years because I was that kid who would give their parents money in the casino and ask them to make bets for me. I'm going to Vegas in a couple of days, and I'm excited about that. My girlfriend is actually coaching, and she needs someone to help carry the bag, so if I have to help her, I guess you got to really help her, huh? I got an interesting story that happened to me in Vegas about a year ago. I didn't bring it up because I was waiting for someone to talk about it, but I've yet to hear anyone talk about it, really. So I was with my friend, and we're at Binion, and we were gambled, won some bonus bets, right? We walked across the street to the Golden Nugget, and played some more, took our Binions and Golden Nugget chips to the cashier there, and the cashier said that this $1 Binions chip was a counterfeit, and they couldn't pay us out, nor could they give us the chip back. And it showed us like that there were no indents in the chip, and that's how you can tell it's a counterfeit. And that we need to be careful and like look out for this. And then took our money, which I thought was kind of weird because it wasn't just some chips that we found off the ground. It was the chip that Binions actually paid us out with. So Binions gave us the counterfeit chip. And I just thought it was frustrating. It shouldn't be our responsibility. It should be the casino's responsibility. Anyways, I was just wondering if you guys heard anything about this. Anyways, enjoy the show. Keep up the work, guys. A huge fan. Can't wait to listen to you guys more. Thanks. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, this is odd. Well, first of all, if it's a counterfeit chip, it's not like it's counterfeit money. Chips are not legal tender. They're the property of the casino. And here's a situation where the Golden Nugget cashier is confiscating a Binion's chip because they say it's counterfeit. That doesn't make any sense to me at all.
If they don't want to take it, that's their option.
Right, sure.
They should just say, no, we can't take that for whatever reason. But to take his chip,
Yeah, it's very strange. Now, okay, so Golden Nugget Binions, they are not owned by the same company, and there's no obligation for a casino to cash chips from another casino. Sometimes they'll do it as a courtesy, especially if they're lower denominations, that kind of thing.
Well, a lot of times they don't want to do it because they have to then get those chips back to that casino and get their money.
You know, I know there are couriers that do that, and they do kind of exchange. But still, they're not obligated to. And why they would confiscate, this is a counterfeit chip from a company we have nothing to do with, that makes no sense at all. No. It was only a $1 chip, and it's probably not worth it. If it had been a higher denomination chip, it might have been worth calling gaming, just to have them come out and, okay, maybe it is a counterfeit chip, but give it back to us so we can take it over to Binions and they can tell us that. So,
give me my dollar back. A $1 counterfeit chip.
Yep.
That just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's a weird one. That's strange.
Well, first of all, who's counterfeiting the $1 chips?
Yeah, right. You'd think you'd counterfeit some of the higher denominations, but then again, maybe at least a 5. The problem with the higher denominations, though, is they attract more attention, and if they are counterfeit, you maybe are more likely to get caught. But you're right. How does the cashier at Golden Nugget even know what to look for in a $1 counterfeit chip from Binions? Strange story, Kevin.
That's why they should just go back to those metal $1 chips.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, just the big tokens.
You know what? I bet you they're just going to have oversized $1 chips.
So they're really obvious when you've got them in a stack.
They're really obvious, yeah.
Oversized, yeah. Twice as big as a regular chip.
They're in your rack. Oh, what are those chips? $.
Yeah, Jerry, I think this is a bad idea. It's turning out to not be practical. Too late.
How about all the chips are different sizes?
Yeah, that's right.
They're all the same color, but they're different sizes.
All right, last call.
What's up, Mark and Dr. Mike? This is Big Brent from Sandy Springs, Georgia. Longtime craps player, longtime listener, first-time caller. I've been encouraged by my brother Big D and my cousin Jamp to call in to give a trip report about Shreveport and Bossier City. This little hamlet in northwest Louisiana is actually kind of a fun place to go for a few days. We went there to visit with some friends, and we ended up playing all weekend. There are about 5 casinos downtown. You can walk to each of them if you're in shape and enjoy walking around. There's a Harrah's about 6 miles away. Honestly, you could walk up any time to any table, 10 to 15. You could get on and start playing pretty quick. The one thing I've noticed, every time I got onto a table, there were, and this annoys me to no end, heavy field players, heavy center of the table players. There's a bunch of high-lows, ace-deuce, horn bets. It's almost got to the point where I hoped and prayed that boxcars or aces or the ace-deuce or the yo never, ever hit, because once it did, it took about 15 minutes to pay them all out, mess with the rhythm of the game, and, hey, it is what it is. The highlight casino there is probably the Horseshoe. They had 4 tables going at its peak on Saturday. $15 tables there on Saturday, but any other time in the morning or whenever you're there is 10. And, hey, any day to play craps is a great day. And if you guys ever make it that way, just enjoy yourselves, walk around. The food is really good up in that little corner. Anyway, thanks for hoping you play this and keep doing what y'all are doing. All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Big Brett. We don't get a lot of reports from the Shreveport-Bossier City area. And it sounds like it'd be a pretty good destination, maybe a future destination for us and or the community.
Yeah, Bossier City. I like that.
You like the name?
Yeah. And we can call it Boozer City while we're there or something.
Okay. That'll be super funny.
I like saying that just to hear your reaction about that. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. We want to thank some people for some recurring donations. Robin from Anytime Gambling, Nathan, and Brian Dancer. Thank you very much for those recurring donations. We also got a donation from Brandon. My employer has been good to me, so I want to share with my buddies Mark and Dr. Mike. Thank you so much. Vegas Golden Knights for the Stanley Cup. Oh, well, there you go. Good luck, Brandon.
Thank you, Brandon. And I'm glad to hear your employer is treating you well. That's always a good thing.
That's always good. And a donation from our good friend Melanie. Thanks for always bringing a smile to my face, from the opening drum beat to Mark's storytelling and Dr. Mike's hilarious end-of-show remarks. Sure wish I could join you in Biloxi. Good luck and make 'em all, Melanie in Colorado. Well, thank you very much, Melanie. Hey, be sure to check out our TV listings showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks at youcanbetonthat.com/TV-listings, and our list of gambling-related movies at youcanbetonthat.com/movies. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat and on Facebook at facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. Finally, please go to your favorite podcast app and write a review of the show. We love getting your feedback. What do you got first, Dr. Mike?
Well, Mark, I just want you to know that 2 days ago here in Minnesota, it was 84 degrees.
Oh, I saw that. Wow.
We came home and I put some steaks on our barbecue and we sat on the patio, me and my wife and daughter, and ate our dinner and just loved it.
Wonderful.
It was beautiful weather. There were no bugs out yet or anything. Now, right now, I'm looking out the window. I can't even see the cornfield behind our house because it is snowing so hard. And it's 32 degrees. And I just looked. We're expecting another 6 inches before this evening.
Well, it's kind of similar here, Mike. A couple of days ago, it was in the mid-60s. And today, it's kind of in the high 60s.
Oh. I hope you guys are weathering this.
We're doing
storm.
okay, yeah.
It is funny, and I do kind of like it. It's like craps, right? You don't know what's going to happen.
It's like craps.
You know,
of course it's like craps. Everything is like craps to you, Dr. Mike.
I wake up in the morning, I don't know if it's snowing or, I mean, I thought spring was here. Now we're back to winter. I don't know. Well, Lynn always tells me there's only 2 seasons in Minnesota. There's winter and then there's road construction.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah, those are the 2 seasons in Minnesota. But anyway, yeah, I like the change. I'm very excited that baseball's here. I've been watching so much baseball.
Yeah.
Because I come home from work, and that's the beauty, Mark, of the Midwest here. See, in San Diego, sometimes those East Coast games, you'd get home and they're already over.
Yeah. Well, what time are you getting home? You're working at an elementary school.
Yeah, so we get home at 3:30.
Well, so the games don't even start for you till like 6 o'clock.
Yeah, well, the Padre games don't start till like 9:10.
Yeah,
something ridiculous. I don't know. I have to stay up kind of late.
Yeah,
but it all works out because then I just take a nap when I get home from work.
Okay, you got the perfect life, Dr. Mike.
I have ended up with the perfect life.
All right, well, enjoy those beef patties.
Yes, I got 5 beef patties to go to bar.
Thanks for listening.
Good night.
Oh, sweet mother, I love you, Dr. Mike.